I want to let my fellow leaders know that I will not be accepting their amendment, and that without my vote as Metro Mayor, as they will know very well, it will fall. The three leaders' amendment seeks to link the Green Recovery Fund to other unrelated investment decisions. And let me stress that, unrelated matters, not linked to the climate emergency. I'm not going to allow such a spurious link on this day or any other similar amendments. I oppose the amendment because linking agreement of the Green Recovery Fund to a series of other unrelated projects of around £50 million is wrong in principle. They should not be nodded through just because the Green Recovery Fund is so important and so pressing. Here we are being asked to nod through plans that do not yet have detailed propositions or business case, so a discussion of the merits is not possible. Frankly, that's a form of blackmail, effectively saying earmark funds to these projects or we will block the Green Recovery Fund. Many of these projects are worthy and have merit, I concede that. But others are vague and unclear, for example, £12 million for various unspecified South Gloucestershire Council so-called masterplans. It isn't about making sure children at a nursery school all get gifts of equal value from Santa, otherwise they have a tantrum. It can't be that. It has to be more serious politics. Every investment decision must be based on merit, not location, or because they are a particular leader's pet project. Tackling the climate emergency cannot be conditional on funding a fashion museum in Bath, for example, or on pushing forward with plans for Thornbury High Street, or the Albion Dock SS Great Britain project. Under my leadership, the West of England Combined Authority meetings are not going to be about rubber stamping details cooked up in private away from the public and media gaze. That's not going to happen. There will be a big temptation for the other three leaders here today to keep pushing on with the approach that tries to link support for the Green Recovery Fund, with a condition that they get their tens of millions wish list. But as I've said, I'm not prepared to let that happen. Lagging on the climate has a financial cost, probably about £500,000 extra for the Green Recovery Fund for each additional month of delay. That money will have to come from somewhere, of course. Delay will require monies to be taken from other budgets, maybe losing Charfield Station, Toby, or a key development in Bath, Kevin, or maybe a cherished project in Bristol, Marvin. So today is time for action, not more talk. No more just blah, blah, blah. Thank you.
So I think it would be good to have a conversation. By their very nature, combined authorities are to be combined. And I think one of the concerns, Dan, is that showing a unified front to government is very important. And so there's two real challenges to this that I think you need to go home and have a real hard think about. The first is that successful combined authorities have had these kind of conversations in their meetings and put the time into building quality relationships, so that when we do talk to government about securing, for example, the £10 billion that Bristol's climate strategy has worked out is needed to fund the decarbonisation of our economy, we can stand there with credibility because we have built that cross-border relationship. And I'd say that's one of the key requirements of the combined authority. The second point, and it's unfortunate that I don't go into the papers every night, but referring to your colleagues, as you referred earlier on, as kind of hokey-cokey as well, that one is, dare I say, is unfortunate. But two, I'm not sure how that relates to the requirement to build the confidence of of public and private sector decision makers in our collective commitment, relationships, and abilities to get things done. So I think there's a lot to think about here, Dan, in terms of in terms of our approach to leadership. But we are also talking about a large sum of money. This is public money. One of the points we've raised is the concern about the governance of that money. Really think I would advise you and urge you. I'd really urge you to have a really hard think and do some deep self-reflection, about the extent to which you have actually done the job of combining the region. And I think by the time we get to a meeting like this, your phrase shouldn't be my paper. It should be our paper, because we are the combined authority, and it only succeeds if we work together. And I think the way that was introduced in terms of my paper is, I think, one of the biggest, concerns with so much behind it that I have right now. So, we need to spend, but we need to spend well. Spending badly is not good. Spending in haste without a proper plan, without a proper business case, is not ideal. We have to get it right first time. To be wise, it means we have to know what's going on. It means we have to draw on existing knowledge and expertise. It means we have to be targeted. I take the point that was very well made about a just transition. That means that money spent on climate change has to be on the specific projects, but we also have to coordinate that with the money we need to spend on our communities so that they can survive through the economic restructuring we're going to have to go through. And dare I say, a message I shared at COP repeatedly, the perversity of climate change is in this constellation of relationships. That the exploitation of the planet has been hand in hand with the exploitation of the most vulnerable people in the world. It could not have happened both in the global south and in the global north. Secondly, those most vulnerable people are the ones who are hit first and hardest by the consequences of climate change. But the third, and the one that we face right now, is that those very same people are at most at risk from falling on the wrong side of the economic restructuring we're going to have to go through as we decarbonize the economy. So for us as local authority leaders, whose remit goes beyond just doing housing, transport, and skills, and we have the whole social care, children's mental health, education, unemployment, domestic violence, all those things we have to deal with. When we are thinking about climate change, yes, we're looking at the projects, and they need to be specific projects, but we're also thinking about how we align that and coordinate it with a wider suite of interventions we make to support our communities through that transition. Because if we don't, what we will end up with is a restructuring of the economy that leaves people behind. We'll lose the political mandate for the scale and pace of change we need, as well as it being a major moral problem. So I think it would be a good idea for us to take some time, but I'd urge you to take some time and have a long, hard think about it as well.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with what Marvin said, and I agree that we probably need an adjournment. But it's very important to realise that on Monday we had a meeting, Dan, where I specifically said we need to discuss the detail of this paper, because I am not prepared to leave today without having a Green Recovery Fund passed and approved, because it is such an important thing that we as regional leaders need to get it over the line. And on Monday in our meeting, I said how important this was, and you said we didn't have time to get together and discuss it as regional leaders, and you're now giving us 10 minutes after you've made a political rant and insulted us as local leaders, described yourself as Santa, And now you expect us to put it all together in 10 minutes, when on Monday you said all week we didn't have time to do this. So I just want the general public to know that I have called for us to have an adult discussion about this topic, because it is so important to everybody, but yet you on Monday said we didn't have time to do it. But now you're giving, after a very, very insulting political speech that was clearly pre-written, you clearly had time to write that speech, but not had time to pull us all together in the room, and now you're giving us 10 minutes. So I am going to take this adjournment, and I was more than happy, to the public know this, to second this amendment, but you didn't even give me an opportunity to second it. Okay? So we will go in another room, we will have a grown-up conversation, but I want the general public to know that us as leaders have had the opportunity all week, and I've been calling for it all week, for us to have that conversation. Okay. So let's have this adjournment and get this over the line.
Thanks, Kevin. Toby, I think I should call you, because everyone else has spoken and you wanted to come in early.
Thank you, Dan. Well, I'm happy that we just get on and have this adjournment. As I said, I've got various questions and comments to make on the papers, but let's just hurry up and have this adjournment.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we just need to hurry up and do it.
That's great. Thank you. Let's adjourn. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Are you going to go in?
I'm not going in, but I'm just a mentor.